Welcome everybody to today. My goal today is to help you break down a 25-mark question, structure your answer effectively and confidently approach it. So we'll build on the revised level 5 syllabus overview that we've just watched by applying that knowledge to a real mock exam question. So just a quick disclaimer, while I'm not involved in exam settings, I have extensive experience in delivering content and supporting CIPS students like yourselves. One key focus today will be exploring how such a question might come up and the best strategies for answering it. On the slide is a basic template structure that I'm going to be talking through with you this morning using a mock practice exam question. Oh, sorry, everybody. On the slide, you can see the mapping of the level 5 syllabus, the question topic of distributed leadership. So as Kirsty has just advised us, the question comes from the syllabus, and that's a really important factor there. So it can be at learning outcome, assessment criteria, or indicative content level. So you can see this is from level 5 module 1, managing teams and individuals. The learning outcome is understand, analyse and apply management and organisational approaches. And the assessment criteria sitting below that is 1.3, analyse contemporary approaches to management and organisational behaviour. The indicative content, the new indicative content is 1.36, management and distributed leadership. So our question for today's masterclass is evaluate the role of distributed leadership in improving team collaboration and decision making within a procurement team. And this question will be for 25 marks. So when you see the exam question, the first thing you should do is identify and analyse the command word. Why is this? Because the command word tells you what the examiners are looking for in their response. For example, if the question asks you to evaluate, it means assess the criteria, weigh the evidence and form a balanced judgment. So you might wonder why command words are so important. Why don't we just ask broad questions like tell us everything you know about distributed leadership? One of the answers is quite simple. It's around time. So in most exams, you have around 3 hours to answer 4 questions. So that translates to around 45 minutes per question. So it could take hours if we asked you to explain everything about a certain topic. So instead, the command words narrow down the scope, making the questions more focused and manageable. So instead of saying, tell us everything about decision making in procurement, we might ask a question which is evaluate the impact of distributed leadership on decision making in the procurement team. This ensures you can provide a clear, structured response within the set time limit. So command words act like a key, unlocking the question's requirements and to guide your answer. So by mastering the command words, you'll not only improve your accuracy, but also save valuable time in the exam. So at level 4, you're probably familiar with command words like explain and assess. And as you progress into levels 5 and 6, you'll encounter more advanced command words such as evaluate, examine and analyse. So understanding these command words is critical to answering effectively. For instance, analyse requires breaking down the separate components, while evaluate demands a more critical assessment. So by recognising what each command word is asking you for, you'll be able to tailor your response to meet the examiner's expectations. So let's move on and look at a mock exam question. So we know the exam question is evaluate the role of distributed leadership in improving team collaboration and decision making within procurement teams. So we also know the question is worth 25 marks, and this gives us quite valuable information. So we're aiming for 5 key points, each will be worth 5 marks, and we'll come back to this in a few minutes. So let's focus on the command word. So when the question asks you to evaluate, it's asking you to assess the criteria or aspects of the topic, consider the supporting evidence, weigh up the strengths and weaknesses, and then draw a well-supported conclusion. So, for example, if we evaluate distributed leadership, we might examine its strengths in improving communication, but its potential weakness in causing decision-making delays. So your answer should critically balance both sides before arriving at that final conclusion. And it's this depth is what earned you those higher marks. So let's start to take the question and break it down. So step one, we have identified the command word evaluate. So we know we need to provide a balanced analysis. And evaluate provides a value judgment based on evidence. It's ending with that final conclusion about the approach's overall effectiveness. And step two, we need to identify the focus of the question. And in this case, distributed leadership in collaboration and decision making within that procurement teams. And then step three, really important, is to plan your answer. Think about how you're going to start structuring your question answer. So using the marks as a guide here as well, we know this is a 25-mark question, which is a great approach around this would be to plan 5 well-developed points, each worth 5 marks. And that would be a good aim for you when you're practicing different questions as well. A 20-mark question would be 4 points, each worth 5 marks. Some key advice that I could give you is pause before writing in your exam. So when you go into your exam and you see the question, take a moment to think. Don't start writing immediately. You know, we've all been there. We want to get going, but do take that time to plan your answer structure first. You can use the notes section in Test Reach to refer back later as you're writing, just to make sure that you've kept to the structure that you want and that you've covered off all your key points. So start by dissecting the question into manageable parts, and let's have a look at how we can do that for this question. So first of all, you can start by defining the topic. So that's identifying the key words in the question. So an example for this question would be the actual topic, distributed leadership. It means sharing leadership roles amongst various people in an organisation, promoting ownership and accountability. So here at this point, you can also explain distributed leadership's importance in procurement. So for example, collaboration is vital because procurement involves working with various departments and relying on diverse expertise. And distributed leadership allows procurement to respond quickly to changes, which is essential for success. So you're basically showing your understanding of the topic before answering the question. So we've said the question is worth 25 marks. So we're looking for 5 key points worth 5 marks each that evaluate the impact of distributed leadership in improving team collaboration and decision making in procurement teams. So the 5 key areas that could help you answer the question, and these are not closed off, you may come up with other, I would suggest that you go off and plan this answer structure yourself. You may be able to come up with other options and other points around this as well. But the 5 points that I've chosen are encouraging open channels of communication, enhance innovation and creativity, building accountability and trust, and addressing decision-making efficiency and reducing single point dependency risks. So remembering the command word is evaluate, so we need to incorporate ways we can improve, but also thinking about the risks and challenges that might be involved. So for everything you write, consider the advantages and disadvantages and how they affect procurement and the organisation. So let's move on and discuss how we can use this to create a balanced answer and gain those 5 points for each example. So when approaching the question, it's important to structure your answer effectively to gain all 5 marks for each point. So using the clear framework that you can see on the slide, let's focus on the first key point, which was encourage open channels of communication. So C, clearly state your point. So an example here could be distributed leadership fosters open communication channels by empowering team members at all levels to contribute to decision-making processes. So this creates a culture of inclusivity and ensures diverse perspectives are heard. So meaning that everybody throughout the organisation, no matter what level, have a voice. L, lay out why it matters. So for instance, this empowerment motivates participation and innovation, while shared leadership responsibilities naturally enhance communication across functions, breaking down silos. So effective dialogue between team members ensures that key insights are not overlooked. And E, evaluate the strengths and weaknesses. So, however, effective distributed leadership depends on clear communication, which can be challenging to maintain. So, miscommunication or poor coordination can reduce its effectiveness, creating delays or misaligned priorities. And a really important step here is A, add relevant examples, the more the merrier. A procurement team implementing distributed leadership might host voice of the team meetings or morning huddles, allowing junior buyers to share supplier concerns. It's these insights that could identify risks or opportunities that senior staff may have missed, so ultimately improving procurement outcomes. And then R, reconnecting back to the question. Finally, tie your points back to the question. So an example of this demonstrates how distributed leadership improves collaboration, ensuring all team members feel valued whilst enhancing decision making through diverse viewpoints. So in procurement, this can lead to innovative strategies and stronger stakeholder relationships. So, by using the clear structure, the framework there, you're ensuring clarity and demonstrating your critical thinking, both of which are essential for achieving those higher marks. This approach aligns your response to the assessment criteria, showcasing your value distributed leadership adds to team communication and decision making. So we're going to move on and look at another point. So another one of the key areas was reducing the risk of single point dependency. And again, using the clear framework to structure your answer to ensure that you've scored all 5 marks for this point. So we'll start with C, clearly state your point. So an example of this is distributed leadership reduces single point dependency by empowering multiple team members to take on leadership responsibilities. It ensures continuity and resilience within procurement teams during leadership absences or transitions. So it's giving a clear overview of what you're talking about. And L, laying out why it matters. So, by spreading leadership roles across the team, critical tasks such as supplier negotiations, again relating it back to procurement, contract management, and risk assessments, are not reliant on one individual. This reduces the chance of disruption and makes teams more agile while handling challenges. So it's this step that expands on your statement and it shows why it matters, why it's important. So E is evaluate strengths and weaknesses. So, however, over distributing leadership can lead to problems such as unclear accountability or delays in decision making. So, if roles are not clearly defined, conflicts or duplication of effort could occur, potentially diminishing the effectiveness of the team. So this shows that that you're thinking critically, that you're recognizing both the strengths and weaknesses. And again, bringing in those relevant examples. Again, the more examples, the better. For those examples, again, if you want to, gain those higher marks, please, I encourage you to, put as many examples as you can. It shows clarity and detail. So an example here is a procurement team at a global retailer assigned secondary leads for supplier contracts. When the primary lead was unavailable, the secondary lead stepped in to avoid delays. However, there were instances of overlapping responsibilities, causing confusion until the team clarified their roles and responsibilities. It's these examples that makes your point more concrete and relatable. And then finally, reconnect back to the question. So it demonstrates how distributed leadership reduces that single point of dependency. It's improving team resilience and collaboration. By sharing responsibilities, teams can better adapt to disruptions, but clear planning is crucial to avoid coordination issues. This reconnecting back to the question, it wraps up your answer and just gives a clear, connection back to the question. So again, by structuring your answer using the clear framework, you're going to write a clear and balanced and well-supported answer for each point. Just to know, if you've seen different frameworks to, looking at the structure of your answer question, remember that's fine. The key important areas are a clear introduction, an explanation, and then a conclusion. And adding in those examples, and it's that together that will help you achieve those higher marks. So why does distributed leadership matter? So let's back up what we've said in our 5 points. And distributed leadership isn't about one person making all the decisions. According to Spillane 2005, it's a framework where leadership is shared across the team. It leverages individual strengths. It enables collaboration and adapts to challenges. And it's exactly what we need in dynamic environments like procurement. So you don't have to reference, but it's a great way to share your knowledge and understanding with the examiner. Models like the Belbin team's role helps us understand this better. So Belbin shows us that successful teams thrive when each member's strengths are maximised. So we have planners, implementers, creative thinkers, and it's distributed leadership brings this to life by ensuring everybody has a voice and everyone has a role. So use examples to back up your points. So again, when you're thinking of examples, it could be from your workplace, it could be other organizations, or it could be hypothetical scenarios. So for example, you could say EcoGood's use of cross-functional teams mirrors the principles of distributed leadership by drawing on diverse strengths to innovate procurement strategies and showing how theory like Belbin's or Spillane ties to the real world success demonstrates that level of depth and critical thinking in your exam. So what I would like for you to take away from this workshop today is that when explaining distributed leadership or your particular topic that your question is based on, use research, use real life examples to give your argument that extra weight. It shows that you've done your homework and it connects the theory into practice in a really meaningful way. Okay, so as we wrap up the end of the question now, the goal of your summary is to directly address the command word and answer the question clearly. This is your chance to bring all your key points together, give a final viewpoint, and show that you understand the topic well. So for this particular question, you could finish by saying that distributed leadership is a game changer. It really boosts team collaboration and decision making in procurement teams. It helps teams work together better by sharing accountability and ownership. By using different perspectives, distributed leadership sparks innovation and helps create practical strategies. Um, this is super useful in fast-paced environments like manufacturing and healthcare. And obviously now we've seen that organizations are starting to take on distributed leadership within their organizations. But we need to factor in there are challenges like coordination complexity and needing more time, training and resources. These need to be managed well to make the model work. But I do feel that despite these challenges, the benefits of stronger collaboration, better innovation and improved decision making make decision leadership a must-have for modern procurement teams. So remember, your summary isn't just a recap. This is your chance to reinforce your key arguments, provide a clear and evidence-based conclusion, fully answer the question and show your critical thinking. So a well-crafted summary makes sure that your answer is complete, directly answers the question and addresses the command word effectively, helping you get those final marks. So once you've written your answer, take a few moments to review it. So checking for clarity. Is your answer well structured and easy to follow? Does each paragraph follow logically with a clear introduction, an explanation and a conclusion? You're checking for relevance. Have you addressed the question directly? Make sure every point you've included ties back to the question, remembering that command word. If you find that you've wandered off topic slightly, that's fine. Refocus your answer. This is your time to do that. So you're checking for balance. If your command word requires you to evaluate your strengths and weaknesses or to address opposing viewpoints, this is your chance to correct that if needed. So let's just take a minute to recap on how you approach a 25-mark question. So understand the command word. Make sure you know what the question is asking you to do. That could be evaluate, discuss, compare. Do check the CIPS guidance. I'm sure we'll be sharing that in the chat and later on for guidance and explanations of the command words if you need that. Plan your answer. So again, taking that moment to plan your answer. Think about the main points that you need to cover. Don't just go and dive in. So we said we have 45 minutes per question. So plan for 5, write for 30 minutes, and 10 minutes to check per 25 mark question. Make sure that you write clear points using the questions weighting, so 25 marks, to create the right amount of strong points that are clear and well explained. So again, if the question is worth 25 marks, it's asking for 5 ideas, and each idea should be worth your 5 marks. So make sure that you write at least 5 relevant points for each idea, and make sure that you separate each idea into different paragraphs, label them with headings or numbers. So only provide the number of ideas requested. So if the question does ask for 5 different ideas, make sure you only give 5. Don't go 6 or 7. And again, a really, really important bit of information is use examples. Back up your points with evidence and examples. And again, these can be from your workplace, other organisations, or hypothetical scenarios. Take that time to review your work. Check your work and ensure it's clear and directly answers the question. So by practicing this approach, you'll feel more confident and prepared on your exam day. You can use the information as well, use the syllabus. You can download that for free off the internet, or it's at the front of your study guides, and you can have a go at creating your own questions. So some of the things that I've seen is people asking, can we see more questions? Create your own. It's something that I used to do myself, using the syllabus and using different command words, and then changing them out just to give yourself a different set of practice questions, and using the structure from today, using that framework to have a go at planning different answers, and that will set you in really good stead. Remember, the questions are based on the syllabus. So if you're preparing model answers from the syllabus, the chances are that you are on the right track.